I just said to the team, our guys are really down. That's a locker room that felt like they did a lot to earn a win, but that's we had to do more. We didn't get the win. I thought that they made a few more plays in the second half than we did, but it never comes down to one play in athletics. It's easy to point to a missed shot here or there, but really we gave up too many opportunities to that team to put ourselves in position to have to make the very last shot. But I'm proud of our guys' effort. We got exactly what I thought we were going to get out of the last play. Ball just didn't go in, and that's how it goes. We're gonna give the guys a day off tomorrow. We're gonna figure out how to give Xavier everything they can handle. Really confident that our team is starting to grow. I loved our mentality in the second half. I told this team we had given up 9 offensive rebounds in the first half, and I said to the team, if we hold them to 3 offensive rebounds, we will win the game. There's no doubt in my mind. We held them to 3 and had a chance. Questions for the athletes?
Terry, you scored all your points in the second half. I believe it was 16. What did you see different in the second half that you didn't see in the first half?
Well, I feel like I had a bad first half, offensively and defensively. But my coaches and my teammates, they kept telling me keep my head up, stay aggressive, and just play my game. And that's what I went out there and did.
Jalen and Deshaun, can you talk about a little bit about what the atmosphere was like today? This was the most notable Wintrust has been all season. Can you talk about what that kind of energy brought to you guys?
Today, I felt like the fans was very in tune into the game. They brought a lot of energy that helped us a lot in the stretches of going down, even being up by 1. The energy in the arena kind of helped us push through it and came down to the last shot. And we got a good look, just fell short.
Jalen, when you see Jaden miss that last shot at the end, obviously his head's down, he's disappointed. What do you, the veteran, say to him in a moment like that?
I just told him to keep his head up. Like great players miss a lot of game winners and stuff like that. I just told him to keep his head up. That was the look we wanted. So he's gonna make the next one. That's what I told him.
Deshaun, obviously, how tough is this one? You guys are right there. You have a chance to win it. How tough is coming out with the loss here?
Very tough. It's never okay to lose. This one kind of hurt a little more just because, we fought really hard to the end, and it came down to one possession. One possession loss is always probably the worst in basketball. So it's never really good, but we found a way, and I feel like it's going to carry over. This right here is going to carry over to the next game.
Deshaun, in the starting lineup tonight, you were sort of that last line of defense, sort of that big that actually Ed Cooley was just in here and said you did a great job on the interior in both games against Georgetown. What worked for you playing that role tonight?
Just staying solid. They have a lot of great players and athleticism and length. So me being not as tall as them, using my quickness, he teaches me a lot of double drop steps. So you trying to use that as much as I can. And, it's not hard being a big in the Big East, so you got to work at it.
Terry Cummings had his jersey retired today, of course. Talk about what that means to you all.
I'll go first.
You got it?
I say it means a lot just knowing that we have Mark Aguirre still here helping us, and to have another Hall of Famer jersey retired, it means a lot just going into the game, and hopefully this energy that we have right now carries over, so we get more wins, and hopefully we get a heated stretch of winning into the Big East tournament, and hopefully we make Terry Cummings happy.
All right, thank you guys.
Okay.
Really good.
See you. Thanks, JT. if I can say, I remember Terry really well as a player. I'm a huge fan. I just bumped into him at halftime, and I said exactly as much. He's a great representative of DePaul University. It's why we feel so down about this result tonight and the fact that we haven't been able to execute as well as we'd like to. There's a proud DePaul alumni base, not just here, but for years and years, decades. It's great to have him back. Mark Aguirre in the program. We recognize the great players that have come through here. Terry Cummings was a special player. Everybody raves about him as a person. Our guys were a little disappointed we couldn't pull this off because obviously we brought some fans in for Terry Cummings night. But I personally was a big fan. I thought he was a remarkable college player. What always impressed me is what I am trying to impress upon our players is he was a very stoic guy. He was not very emotional. He just, he did his thing and he played at the highest level. And I know he didn't lose very much, so he didn't have to get very upset very often. But I remember what a warrior he was and how unflappable his demeanor was as a player.
Coach, Jaden's had a great 6-game stretch, averaging 15 in that span, and had 15 tonight. So Jalen, answered the question about what you tell him after missing that layup. What do you tell him?
Well, what I just said is sports is never really about one play. One play will always stick out when you lose a heartbreaker like this. But we got down 4, with a minute to go on a bad turnover. The turnover hurts us as much as that last shot. Jaden Henley is a good basketball player. He's had a terrific run. I really feel bad for him. But as athletes, you're going to have adversity. Our team has suffered more than we thought we would this year. And that's an unfortunate ending for a player that's played really well. In fact, I would say Jaden Henley has improved in the last 3.5 weeks as anybody really I've ever coached in a 1-month stand. Here's what Jaden has become. He's become a significantly more determined defensive player. He gets involved on the defensive rebounding a very significant amount. He's starting to play off 2 feet, which has taken us a long time to get him to do. He's still very right-handed. He's still some flaws in his game, but he's very determined to get better, and he's listened as well as anybody in the program. So while I'm really proud of his performance, I feel bad that it had to end with him missing that shot. And he feels bad because he feels like he's let his team down, but it really wasn't him. It's never one shot. It's never one play.
Matt, can you talk a little bit about the starting lineup today? Mack and Churchill were limited to, I believe it was about 12 minutes combined. Can you talk about what the decision was to not start necessarily a true center tonight?
Yeah, it's really something I go back and forth about. Deshaun played really well tonight. I'm trying to teach these guys what I just mentioned about Terry Cummings. You can't be as emotional on the court. You can't be emotional about the whistle. When one play happens, you got to let it go. And Deshaun has not gotten there where I want him to be. So really, for a lot of reasons, I'm trying to teach Deshaun the critical nature of being a little bit more stoic, a little bit more unflappable on the court. And it's really why I haven't started him. It's not his play or his defense or this, that, or the other thing, but I'm trying to teach him a lesson. Whether it's best for our team or the results, not really sure. I thought that, he had played really well in practice the last 2 days, and he had been less emotional. And a less emotional Deshaun is going to be a really good player. He just hasn't learned that lesson as well as I'd like him to, but I thought he played well. He plays with his back to the basket. There's a lot of things he can do to get better. And it's hard to teach a guy in midseason exactly, but I've spent a lot of time with front court guys, and guys have gotten better. There's a whole level that he can get to with his back to the basket that he hasn't touched yet.
Hey, Coach, you guys were down 13 at the half, and you guys come out strong. So what do you like most about the way you guys come out of the locker room and kind of carry that throughout the whole second half?
Yeah, interestingly, this team's energy is an ebb and flow situation, and I try and get this. I'm always trying to be super positive with this group because I know what they're going through. As an athlete, it's really difficult to see the score and be on the wrong end of a score during the course of a game, and you start to think about the end while the contest is going on. So I'm constantly saying we're right there, and I said that at halftime, and I did give them some stats. That we needed to do. I knew for a fact that we had to hold them to 3 offensive rebounds or 4 to have a chance. They had 9. And that gave us a chance. And I said to each and every guy, you're as good as the guy you're playing against, but you have to believe it. And if you believe it, then we can achieve this win together. But unless you break through this mentally and get through this, where your mind takes you as an athlete is what's about to happen, what might happen in the next 20 minutes. And so I'm always working on these guys, the mental edge that we need to develop. And I keep saying we need to develop it. And we're obviously running out of time, and I'm working really hard on it. My staff works hard on it. I talk with these guys individually every day. I pull them in before we start practice individually. But it's a bit of a challenge. For a lot of it is the individualism of these guys and where they are emotionally. As fans, you look at every player as, well, they should be at a higher level, whatever it is, skill-wise, toughness-wise. But the mental aspect of this game is so critical. I spend a lot of time on that. In fact, I can say to you, I've spent very little time on this with this team, X's and O's and offensive execution, other than get great shots and not turn it over. And when we turn it over, the results are always poor. But I thought in the second half our execution was better. We take some really difficult shots, and every game it's a different guy. That's part of the mental toughness and grit that we're trying to develop. But this team wanted this win. They wanted it for a lot of reasons. And I say all the time, we're representing a lot more than just yourself and your own family. You're representing an unbelievable university with a really proud group of alumni. And this group of alumni have been fantastic. So we're all disappointed with the result. We hope to achieve that next win on Wednesday.
And then walk us through that last play there with Jaden Henley, and how much confidence you had as a coach to give him that final shot.
Yeah, so I gave him two scenarios. If they went zone, we're going to do this. If they go man-to-man, I took Deshaun out and my staff was like, we need Deshaun in for an offensive rebound. I said, there's 8 seconds left, length of the court, there's no offensive rebound. It's one shot, so we're going 5 guards. I moved Elijah to the 5, and I put him on the far side opposite the ball. And I put the other 3 guards on one side. I had 2 guards screen for each other, JT and Chico screening for each other. It was all just a ruse. I had Jaden Henley took 3 steps to his left, threw it to Elijah, who was being guarded by their 5. He flipped it back, and he got a clean look at the basket. To be honest, it was exactly what I thought would happen. The only fly in the ointment would have been had they gone a 2-2-1 or a 1-2-2. But we had a plan for that. It wouldn't have been a layup. It would have been a corner 3 in front of our bench. But we got exactly out of that what